Elena cheated on Devon with Nate, although she did regret it afterwards. Will Devon dump her and turn to the gorgeous Amanda once he learns that she was unfaithful? Or will the lie, rather than the dirty deed, be Elena's downfall? And Summer sneaked a peek at Kyle's phone and didn't like what she saw. Did Kyle's texts to Lola indicate that he still had lingering feelings for his ex? There are plenty of teardrops of love to go around in 2 scoops. Well, I had wanted Elena and Devon's storyline to liven up, and by golly, it did once Elena and Nate started smooching it up in the clinic. And hopefully, that will stop the snooze fest between Amanda and Nate, also. I had a funny feeling that Elena's insecurity would be her downfall, and boy, did she fall, right into bed with Nate. Of course, she was horrified afterwards at what she had done, but the expression on her face sure showed passion at the time of their interaction. Apparently, Elena must have wanted it at the time, though, since she had felt that she needed Nate to make love to her to make her feel desired. Elena was so threatened by Amanda's resemblance to Hillary that she lost all faith in Devon's love for her, so she had needed Nate to validate that she was still alluring. Any observant person would be able to see her guilt, since Elena tends to wear her heart on her sleeve, yet Devon has had problems seeing it fully displayed. If he had, Devon would have known that Amanda made Elena feel uncertain of his feelings for her, no matter how much and how often he told her that he loved her. But maybe Amanda was blinding Devon to Elena's feelings, since she looked identical to his beloved deceased wife. But at least his blinders didn't cover up that Amanda and Hillary were different in their own ways. But even Devon could hear how snippy Elena was when she heard that he had spent half of the night, strolling down memory lane about Hillary with Amanda. Shoot, all thoughts of cheating on him even flew out of Elena's head for a quick second. As a teardrop of love fell from her eye down her cheek, Elena told Devon that she would tell him everything and then lied. Oh, Elena was surely making a mistake by not confessing all to Devon. It takes 2 to tango, and with Nate as her seductive dance partner in crime, their dirty deed would surely come out sooner rather than later. If the sex with Nate didn't destroy her relationship with Devon, Elena's cover-up of it probably would. Devon could see that something was wrong with her, and believe me, Elena would have loved it if he could have saved her from herself. Alas, it was too late. In the meantime, Nate covered his tracks with Amanda by saying that he wasn't trying to avoid her. He had just been so busy at the hospital. Okay, if that's what they are calling it these days. Speaking of a teardrop of love, Jack found someone to help track down information on Dina's mysterious necklace. Needless to say, Tracy was shocked to learn that that someone was Victor. Yeah, it was surprising, but it was also a nice change of pace to see Jack and Victor actually trying to be civil to one another. Of course, the Newman-Abbott family rivalry was the reason why Victor had coveted the necklace. Victor knew that John had purchased the necklace for Dina when she'd been pregnant with Jack. How sweet. But the teardrop of love was stolen and later resurfaced. Victor had tried to buy it, but it was Bodhi International that became the new owner. Jack just hoped the teardrop of love could bring Dina a few moments of happiness if they could find the necklace. Come to find out, Neil Fenmore had ended up with the necklace, so Lauren would have inherited it after he died. When Lauren promised Jack that she would look for it, she remembered that Dina had once had a fire burning inside of her, and they both hoped that some of that fire still lurked within. I am hoping that there will be an interesting development to this story and that it doesn't fizzle out like the Music Box mystery did several years ago. During this trying time, we need a good and fun-filled mystery to solve. Lily appreciated hearing from Billy that their partnership and their friendship were very important to him. Me, too. Even though Billy promised that he would check with Lily about his ideas in the future, Adam threatened to kill their new truce by vowing to Chelsea that he would get back at Billy in the name of love and family. And Adam wanted to take Chance along for the ride. However, Chance was more worried about keeping his job, since Paul had already put 2 and 2 together with the sum that the law enforcement officer that Adam was protecting was him. So, Adam was left to work on his own, and Billy was left in the dark about it all. Literally in the dark. What Adam didn't realize was that he had stranded Chelsea in the elevator at Chancellor Communications, while Billy and Lily scrambled to see what had put the lights out. But Billy guessed that Adam was behind their sudden electrical trouble, so he volunteered to guard the Chancecom Palace. However, he was guarding the wrong palace, because Adam took the golden opportunity to search Billy's room during the blackout. Adam was looking for any further dirt Billy had on him to stop Billy from putting a second exposé out on social media. Gosh, Adam could have had a bestseller if he had been first to author a book about all his misdeeds. It probably would have been at the top of the list for months, maybe even years. When Chelsea tried to pry her way out of the elevator, she lost her balance and fell to the floor, unconscious. Luckily, Billy found her and yelled for Lily to call 911. Adam regretted that harm had come to her due to his actions and his need for revenge, but, oh, well, it couldn't be helped. But when Billy got a glimpse of the security footage of Adam ransacking his place, he realized just how valuable his additional proof of Adam's past really was. Man, that wasn't the brightest move, Adam. Just how stupid did he think Billy was to have that kind of stuff hidden in his room? Adam had better hurry up and get writing if he wants to beat Billy at the next exclusive story of his life. Fortunately for Adam, though, Lily still wasn't interested in a sequel of the festering wound of his life. Nikki should have learned her lesson by now about trying to get rid of Adam. Her insistence that Victor chase his own son out of town only continues to divide a family that seems to be split apart the majority of the time. Maybe if Nikki tried to include Adam as a family member, the Newmans could be more united and on the same page. And maybe they would spend less time trying to get revenge on each other. They could probably find better use of their time. But then Nick had the brilliant idea that the best way to rid the family of Adam was to convince Chelsea to leave Genoa City to be with her son. So, Chelsea immediately had her nose in the classifieds, looking for their new home. Chelsea's ulterior motive was also to get Adam away from Billy, and the farther out of town, the better. But Victor thought the better course of action was to go through Lily to have her banish Billy Boy from his kingdom. I was almost waiting for him to yell, "Off with his head," as he not so subtly told Lily to give Billy the old heave-ho. Lily then reminded Victor that Jill did the hiring and that Chance.com was no longer Newman Media. I'm sure that Victor's sudden forgetfulness was more from choosing to have a selective memory than from any kind of senility, though, because then he ran straight to Victoria to try to persuade her to get Chance.com back under the Newman umbrella. Yet Victoria only saw his ploy as a way to punish Billy and to let Adam off scot-free again. It almost seemed that the troops were gathering, and each member had to join Team Adam or Team Billy. Faith really needed to ignore the trolls who kept hounding her about being unwanted after they learned that she had been taken from her mother and given to another woman to raise as her own. Kids can be cruel, and they were really pouring it on by telling Faith that Sharon still didn't want her, which was horrible and so very untrue. Those nasty teens didn't know anything about it, and they most certainly had no room to talk. Sharon loved her daughter, and Faith knew that. She had a very loving family, and not all girls her age could say that. Faith needed to think less about those idiot girls and more about a positive future with her family, once her mother received a clean bill of health. Mariah and her cavalry, Nick, tried to convince the girl that she was very much loved. Thank heavens her surgery appeared to be successful. However, Sharon could see that there was a difference in Faith's demeanor, which Ray confirmed. When she talked to her daughter, Sharon tried to remain upbeat, and she encouraged Faith to go out and be with her friends. But Sharon didn't realize that Faith's friends were part of her problem, and Faith didn't want to worry her. However, Faith also felt guilty about not visiting her mom in the hospital. Gosh, she could be forgiven about that. Faith was afraid for her mother and had just wanted to hide away. It was so understandable. It was a good thing Mariah was there to offer her sister a shoulder to lean on. Putting her distaste of Victor aside, Phyllis wished for a joint venture with Newman Enterprises, where she would offer the company their own exclusive escape club with the best perks in town, but Victoria had no interest in working with her. Shoot, she was probably afraid of Phyllis stabbing her in the back. Oh, yes, Red's reputation had definitely preceded her, especially with the Newmans. Phyllis had never taken no for an ANS. Still, it was a great offer, which Victoria might have considered if Phyllis hadn't then tried to lure her employees away from the athletic club. Instead, Victoria bought Phyllis loan from the bank, which gave her 75% of the Grand Phoenix. Man, that's one major grudge. If Victoria was getting her back for all that JT stuff, that was quite some time ago. Who says that revenge isn't a dish best served cold? Not Victoria. Phyllis wanted a compadre whose name was not Newman to help her mud-slinging battle against her newest foe, and Amanda was her choice. Well, after all, Nate has claimed to be so busy these days that Amanda should have some free time on her hands. But Amanda had an exclusive contract with Chance.com, so Phyllis had to look elsewhere. Chloe was sure begging for her baby boy to be born, and fortunately for her and for Kevin's sanity, she got exactly what she asked for. I can't say I blame her, though, because 9 months can seem like an eternity when a woman is pregnant. I mean, all she wants during all those months is to see her precious baby. Thankfully for Chloe, yep, third time was the charm, plus she had Kevin to help her talk the little one right out of her womb. Chloe yelled to Esther and Kevin all the way down the staircase with suitcase in hand, so her baby knew the time had come for his arrival. Really, he didn't dare not come out to meet his family after that. While Kyle and Summer prepared to marry on the sly, so Kyle could forever be her ball and chain, I couldn't help but think of how much Lola has changed, thanks to Kyle's flip-flopping back and forth between the two young ladies. When Kyle first met Lola, she was a pretty spitfire of a girl, who ruled her food truck with a smile on her face. When Kyle proposed, like most girls, Lola believed that would be her one and only time to get married. But since Kyle left her for Summer, Lola has become a shadow of herself. Even though she tried to tough it out at first, Lola obviously still loves Kyle. She rarely smiles anymore. When she had sex with Theo, Lola probably felt like she had been unfaithful to Kyle, which was why she no longer wanted to be friends with Theo. Lola was ashamed. And Kyle didn't seem to be completely over Lola yet, since he sent his ex-wife texts under the pretense of letting his dad know that he was eloping with Summer. Kyle appeared to want to have his cake and eat it too, because he just couldn't let Lola go. Or maybe he remembered that she had always been smiling when he first met her, too. Kyle's the one who had taken that radiant smile from Lola's face, and he should feel guilty for that. Odds are that sneaking a peek at Kyle's cell phone wasn't a good sign that Summer trusted Kyle, though. Therefore, their parents shouldn't panic about the upcoming nuptials just yet. That couple could very well have some teardrops of love of their own in the very near future.